everybody. So we got some kind of interesting stuff we want to talk to you about this week. I had a little bit of an experience last week, and it plays into several other experiences that have happened, not just with me, but with other people around the valley in the last couple of years. So what it's about is the small black creatures that are seen. Now, what brought this to my attention most recently was last week I was coming to visit my friend Kris, and when I came around the corner of her driveway, just on the back side of her vehicle, I saw this small black creature that was approximately 1.5 to 2 feet high, and I only saw it for just a split second. It was right on the back side of her vehicle, and it just dropped down and was gone. It just vanished just instantly. It wasn't there. And at the time, I was thinking her black dog, this fella here, I was thinking that must have been him, and he just dove down underneath and went underneath the vehicle. Well, I was thinking, the old guy's really got some spunk left in him, because he normally is pretty slow moving. And then I got around the side. When I pulled up, I saw that, no, the old fellow was actually locked inside of his little fenced area, and Kris said no, he had been there the whole time, that had not been him that I had seen. So that brought to mind some of the other experiences we've had like that over the last few years. And Kris is here with me. We're gonna talk about some of these, because she's had these experiences too. And most recently, you believe that it was back yesterday?
It was back yesterday. Yeah, I'm going to back up a little bit, because I wanted to explain a little bit about what you saw when you pulled up, and give the viewers here a little more information. When she says my vehicle, she's talking about the rig that I live in, and on the side that she saw this little creature go under is actually blocked by a fence that fits right alongside of my rig. So it encloses my rig in a little yard for my dogs to be in. So there was no opening for this little guy to get through this fence and get underneath my rig like you saw him do, which is part of the mystery of how the heck did they do these things?
Yeah, where did it go? Because it actually could not have gotten underneath.
Not by our rules.
No,
our rules of physics. It should have banged into the fence and rolled backwards, and
or it should have gone to the left or the right,
or something.
Yeah, but no, it just was gone, which led me to assume it had gone underneath.
Right, and you didn't know that the fence was running alongside of that rig and enclosing.
No,
it
as you can see, the fence here in front of us, it's a small,
it's a little portable RV.
Yeah,
fencing.
just to keep your pets in.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I have it strung tightly right along the side of my rig to prevent them from getting out underneath the rig, or from some of the stray dogs that wander through, off-leash dogs, from which I've had Jasper gets under here and steals Buddy's toys. So that's another reason.
That's
anyway,
why, okay.
So part of the mystery of when you see these small individuals is, how in the heck did they just do what you saw them do?
Yeah,
because
that's right.
It defies the laws, our known laws of our physical world. The first time that I saw one, I was not aware of what I had seen. I didn't know what it was. The closest thing that I thought it was a small black bear, because I was walking down the river by one of the cabins, and this was 3 summers ago. I came around the corner of one of the cabins along the river, and there was this hind end about the size of a really small black bear, like a juvenile or a real young black bear, or the size of Gabby.
About Gabby's size.
A Nuki size.
Okay.
And I just saw the round rump tail end of it as a blur, really booking away from me, and I thought, oh, black bear. And I came back to the campground and was telling everybody, I just saw a black bear down by the cabin. And I was greeted with much skepticism about whether it was a black bear, because they're not commonly seen around here anymore.
In the 25 years I've been here, I've seen 3 bears, and one of them was killed the next day. It was hit by a car on the highway. And that wasn't even black, it was a cinnamon color.
So, and this actually, what I saw here wasn't jet black either. It was more of a brownish color, brownish brown. But it never occurred to me that it was a Bigfoot. Bigfoot was really not on my radar hugely. At that point, I hadn't been here a really long time, hadn't had a whole bunch of experiences by then. That was one of the first ones. So I never put two and two together until last summer when we were setting up for the Bigfoot camp out. And that Gabby-sized creature, the same thing, went running through the woods or through the campsite area. And I said to you, what the heck was that?
Yeah, you asked me if Gabby was there yet.
Right.
And no, we were just bringing the stuff up, but Gabby was still at the house. I hadn't brought her yet.
And that was the same exact thing, same movement, same size as what I had seen by the cabin on the river there. So that was the second time I had seen it, but didn't know what it was until you then started laughing and explained, we talked about it.
Yeah.
And we went looking for footprints and looking up trees to see if there was a black bear or a raccoon or anything that could explain what we saw. But there was no dogs in the area. There was nothing.
It just literally ran between two trees and was gone.
And was gone. So then you saw him or her, the little guy, last week.
Or one of them. This last week right here.
And then yesterday, when I was sitting in the rig waiting for my my lunch to get cooked, I heard some loud, metallic, banging, thumping, very loud underneath the rig. And in the same area where you saw the little guy go under. And I thought, what the heck is that? Both my dogs were inside with me, laying side by side, because of course I'm cooking lunch, and they're not going to miss out on that. And they both, in unison, ears pricked up, very interested in the noise, no signs of being upset, no barking, no growling, just interest.
Huh.
But then, after we heard, seconds after we heard the noise, whatever it was kept going. I mean, it kept going. It came out underneath the door there, as far as I could tell, by judging from what I could hear, and the head movement of both the dogs turned their head and looked out the door, following the noise. But they never made a move to get up. They never made a bark. They never growled. They never looked upset. They just looked curious or interested, or oh, that's cool, or I don't know what they were thinking. So based on their reaction, I automatically rule out cat, squirrel, raccoon, possum, other small dog, because you know my dogs and you know how they are. I mean, they're gonna bark. If there was another dog or an animal in here, they're gonna go crazy.
Oh yeah.
He's very aggressive, and neither one of them. So I was kind of like, okay, well that's interesting, but I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it. I mean, I kind of, based on what you had seen, I kind of guessed that's what it was. But the banging metal sound was really loud. But what surprised me is I don't know how they made the sound, because there was no sensation of vibration or movement in the rig.
Huh.
Like if something banged underneath on
like
the tranny
hitting
or
it with
something.
a rock or something.
I would have felt it. I would have thought.
Huh.
But I didn't. But it was very loud. So anyway, so I came back out a few minutes later, and I went over to the cooler to get something out to bring back inside to eat. Sat down in my chair at the back, and I got the same big clanky metal noise right underneath the back here where I sit. But again, I didn't feel anything. There was no vibration. The dogs both heard it, same reaction. You couldn't miss it. It wasn't soft. It was like bang, clang. It was loud. And I was like, I kind of laughed and said, okay, guys, yeah,
you got my attention.
I know you're here. But when I came out to get the cooler, what really cemented my conviction that it was the same little guy or a little Squatch was, I came out, I bent down to the cooler, which is right near where he came out at, and there was the very, very strong odor of fresh poop, which there is no fresh poop, but that very distinctive odor, which is why one of the reasons I nicknamed him Pooh. But I spell it Pooh because Pooh is cute and cuddly.
Oh,
like a
okay.
little Pooh Bear. But
Okay.
he always brings the aroma of poop with him.
Okay.
And when I bent over to the cooler, I was like, whoa. I mean, it was powerful, like it was within just a couple feet of me.
Wow.
So then I was like, okay, I know he's here. So I had that, and then last night I had Oso, which is a different odor. Oso's the odor I associate with him is also a sewage smell, septic-like smell. Very
like what we smelled at our June camp out last summer, where it was just overpowering. Sewage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And real kind of bitter smelling, but you can't miss it. But I kind of wondered if he was up high somewhere, because the wind was blowing from different directions, but the odor was, I couldn't tell which direction the odor was coming from.
Ah, okay.
And I sat here and I really spent time trying to figure it out, looking around and going, okay, I know you're here. So where are you? But so that was, and I hadn't had any activity since last week when you saw the little guy. But I don't know. I think he's the one that I named Pooh.
Wow, cool. Well, from now on, every time I have an experience or hear an experience with the little guys like that, I'm going to remember and think it's Pooh.
Well, yeah, because we were talking about names for the guys the two older juveniles that were tossing sticks in here, and we came up with Pitch and Chuck.
Yeah, that's right.
And then for the little one that's always with them, or seems to be with them,
that
Pooh.
would be Pooh. Those names are adorable. I love them.
And then the one that seems to be a little bit older, mentory type, that looks from behind the tree, I called him Peek.
Okay.
Him or her. So those are the names that I use.
So you've got
for
Oso, Peek, Chuck, Pitch, and Pooh. Right on.
And Chuck and Pitch because they throw stuff.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so there's a little more background on these small black creatures that are seen here that I want to talk about. She was telling us about the one that she saw at our campsite when we were setting up last May. And it was just the week before that when Sandy and I were at the gifting area. And I was actually in the process of making a video. I had the camera on filming the gifting bucket when the camera shut off, and I turned just in time to see what I thought was Gabby come running up the trail, and it turned and was gone in just a split second. All I saw was a black blur about the size of Gabby, and I knew it couldn't be Gabby because then Gabby came running from behind me and chased after it, and then she just came right back up the trail looking over her shoulder like she was playing the chase game, like she was confused. She couldn't understand why it wasn't chasing her back, whatever it was. So we kind of stood there and we looked and watched for a few minutes and never saw anything else. But it was so fast. All I could say that it was Gabby sized. It was black. If it had a tail, I couldn't tell you because I didn't see one. And Gabby wasn't upset about it. She wasn't freaking out and chasing it off like it was another dog. She looked like she was playing the game that she loves to play, is chase me. I chase you and then I turn and you chase me back. Except it didn't chase her back. So that was about a week before Kris had her experience when she was helping us set up camp. And then there's another experience that I don't think I ever told you about from the summer before when the guys from Wassert were here, and they were camped out in my driveway, and one evening they were fixing their dinner. It was just starting to get really dark, and I had walked out onto the bridge to see if I could get a signal out there. Well, I was out there for maybe 5-10 minutes, did what I was going to do, and as I'm walking back off the bridge, just over the edge in the bushes, I see this black creature, and it didn't even occur to me that it wasn't Gabby. I just said, "Come on, Gabby, let's go." And she didn't come, and I looked, and it took off in the other direction. And I mean, it took off so fast, it was a blur, but it was just dark enough, and it was just concealed in the bushes enough that I couldn't really get a good look at it. But when I got back to the cabin, I discovered that it had not been Gabby, that Gabby had been there the entire time because, well, these guys were cooking steaks. So, let's see, what was it before that? Oh, before that would have been, I believe, 3 summers ago when I took the boss's grandson, Sterling, with Anna, and we went for an evening hike up the trail. And we had just an explosion of activity beside the trail when I saw weeds just getting mowed over, little bushes and plants and stuff, but there was nothing there that I could actually see doing it. Anna, she saw farther back on the far side of the swamp. She described an upright black creature that stepped behind a tree and was gone. But Sterling, he was right behind me. What he saw was right next to the trail. He described it as being small, about Gabby's size, on all four legs. He said it looked right at him, turned, leaped over a log, and it was gone. So there's also one other story that's similar to this that I heard from somebody a few years ago in the store. A man had come in and said that something had run across the road in front of him up on the 70 road, and he said it was smaller than a bear, but on all fours, black, and he said that it moved so fast that it was just a blur, that he couldn't make out what it was. So he wasn't sure what it was that he had seen, and and at that time I didn't really know enough about the Bigfoots to even consider that that's what it could have been. But that seems to be one thing that's in common with all of these experiences, is how fast they are.
They are. It's the blink of an eye. You see them, and it's a blur.
Yeah, literally.
You see them long enough to register what you're seeing.
That there's something there.
That looks like either Gabby or the back end of a small bear, but a little bit different. But that's the closest thing.
Yeah, they're on four legs. They're
gone.
Yeah, just boom, and in a flash. And the two juvenile sightings that I had when they were in trees, they were extremely fast, and well, that's when I named them little ninjas, is because they were literally leaping from tree to tree. And even then they were moving so fast that you couldn't really see any detail. And then the one that I saw during the Cloaker event was small, although he wasn't on all fours. He was upright. He popped up and took off to the left, and he was also mowing things over as he went. And then there was also the one that Juanita saw, the baby that came headfirst down the tree and disappeared. But apparently when they're that little, they can't move that fast yet, because she didn't say anything about it being a blur or anything. But I think that all these things kind of tie together to give us a little more info about the smaller Sasquatches. The ones that are pre-teen.
They're active, and they're mischievous, and they're curious, and they're really, really fast.
Yeah.
And how they physically move that way and go through physical barriers that you shouldn't be able to go through.
Yeah.
How they do it is just incredible.
Yeah, it really is. It's an eye-opener, isn't it?
Yeah. It really makes you think, because you're looking at it, you're seeing it, you're experiencing it, but you just can't explain it.
It's so hard. You can't even really get a good look at them because they're literally a blur.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that could have something to do with why you don't really get many reports of young Sasquatches. People always report the big ones, but when you see a big one, there's no mistaking what you've seen. When you see a little one, I think generally they are literally moving so fast that you don't know that's what it was you saw. So there's one more small black creature event that I forgot to mention. That was at our June camp out last summer, when Sam got up in the middle of the night and saw a small black creature on four legs running around the fire pit. She thought it was Gabby. She called it. It didn't come to her. And the next morning she discovered that no, Gabby had been zipped in the tent with me all night. So yeah, that was probably another juvenile. All right. Well, thanks for sharing with us today, Kris. And yeah, it's been fun. So keep your eyes open out there. And the next time you see some small black creature scooting off through the woods, keep your mind open on the possibilities.